Hi, Brandon McCulka here, giving you a tutorial on formatting text in WordPress. You may have noticed that WordPress has a very powerful word processor inside of it, and I'm going to give you a few tips on how to get the most out of it. So let's go ahead and get started and go to the pages, and I'm going to add a new page. And let that load for a sec. And we're going to enter a title. I'm just going to enter temporary to get us started, just so we have a starting point. One of the first things I want to point out is this little area right here where it says visual and text. When you want to make sure is visual is selected. Otherwise, you're going to be just dealing with code, and that's not really what you want to deal with. You want to deal with the visual tab. Um, the next thing I want to point out is the fact that there's this button right here. It's called a kitchen sink, and if you hover over it, it says show hide kitchen sink. And what you can do is click on it, and you'll notice that that second bar of icons disappears. And if you click on it again, it will just come right on back. So if you're not seeing that second bar of icons, just make sure that this is enabled, this kitchen sink. So let's get started. I'm just going to copy in some text from lorem ipsum, and it's just some starter text to get us started, and it has some code that I'm just going to delete real quick. And this should just get us started with a basis of something to work with. So we'll just start from the left and go right. Bold, obviously bold just bolds things. Same thing with italicizing. You can just highlight whatever you want and italicize it. The next thing is strike through, and what that actually does is it puts a line through the middle of your text. I'm not a big fan of it, but some people are. The next thing we'll do is we'll actually just create a list real quick. So I'm just going to separate a few lines out, and we want to turn that into a list. So I'm going to highlight all three of these lines and just click this bulleted, and it creates an unordered list. So bullets are called unordered lists, and then numbered lists have the numbers on the side. And say I want to change that to numbered list, I'll just click on the number list, and obviously 1, 2, and 3 show up on the left-hand side of it. The next thing I'll show you is the quote mechanism. So let's just say that this little section of text right here is actually a quote. There's a feature called block quote in HTML, and this will automatically add it to a block quote. And what it does is it kind of indents it, and if it's set up correctly, it will add formatting. So what we can do is we can actually just go over to the right hand side and click on this preview button, and it will load a new tab, and should load what it would look like if we were to publish this. So you can see I have some italicized bold font, there's a little bit of italicized font right here, there's strike through, there's an ordered list, and there's a block quote. And what this website is set up to do is it actually adds this nice gray bar to the side of a block quote, and that gives it a little more of a this is a quote feel. So let's go on back. I'm going to close that window, and we're going to come back into here, and we're going to continue. These three buttons are just like they do in normal word processors. It will, right now we're left aligned, so it doesn't really do anything. If I click center aligned, it will center all the text within the window, and if I click right align, it will align it on the right hand side. And so that's pretty simple. There's also one down here that's justify, and that's the same thing as justify in word processor, and it will actually take the lines and extend them to the entire length so that you have a nice crisp, clean edge on the right hand side and on the left hand side. So let's see. I'm just going to set this back to left align, just the normal text. Now, say I wanted to put this as a link to somewhere else, and I'm just going to link it to Google. Is my idea. So what I do is this next icon right here is edit and insert a link. So you click on it, and it will ask you for the URL destination. And I'm just going to type in www.google.com. And you want to give it a title. This is a link to Google. And you can tell it to open a link in a new window and tab. And I would highly suggest this because if you have readers on your site reading your content, you don't want them to leave your site. So if you click this open link in a new window, when they click on their link, it will open a new tab and keep your site open. so that when they close that tab, they'll get back to your site. The other thing you can do is you can also link to existing content like other pages on your website, and you can just search through these pages and find the page that you're looking for and click on it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add this link to Google, and you can see it turns this nice blue color, which will let you know that it is a link and it is active. Now you can click anywhere in this area and you can actually change the link. As long as you're within the link itself, you should be able to just change it. So if I wanted to not have it be Google and say I wanted to have Bing instead, let's do bing.com. We'll update it. Now it's set to Bing, the entire link. This button right here will unlink your text, so we can actually unlink it. And it's as simple as that. This insert more section, let me just put it at the beginning of the text after the block quote, and you can see it adds this little more icon, and all that's doing is it's actually letting you know that if you had this set as a blog post, it would cut everything from the more section off and have the reader click into the blog post in order to see the rest of the section. This is probably not something you have to deal with when you're dealing with pages, but if you're dealing with posts, sometimes it's helpful if you have too much information that's showing up on your blog. So I'm just going to undo that, and we're going to go on to the next one. This one is a spell checker, and it works just like a spelling checker would normally work on any word processor, and you have a choice of a few different languages. You just click ABC and it will go through and it will try to find errors, and it will underline them. So this next button actually turns it into distraction-free writing mode. So what you can do is click on it and it will load the page full screen and let you just type away without being distracted by all the different things that are on the side and the left-hand side and the right-hand side that you would normally see. So we're just going to go back up to the top, and you can click Exit Full Screen on the left-hand side. So the next section is it's an interesting section. It's the Format section, and you have a few different options. It's paragraph, address, pre-formatted headings, all the way 1 through 6. And what that does is it will actually change the formatting of your text. Now what this means is if you have, say, a title for a section in your text, you would actually give it a heading. And a heading is a little bit bolder, thicker text. And you'll see if I just choose heading 2, it makes the text font a bit bigger and bolder. Now you only want to use headings for titling. And the reason is the search engines look for headings and they decide whether you have too much text in your heading, whether your keywords are in your heading. So what you want to do is only use it if you're actually trying to section off things that are relevant within your post. Now, heading 1 is going to be your biggest heading, all the way through heading 6, which is your smallest heading. So it's kind of more like you start with heading 1, and then if you have a subsection within that, use heading 2. If you have a subsection within that, use heading 3, etc. And what that will do is it is set to a font that was predetermined by WordPress in your theme. So it is coded into your theme. And the reason they do that is because you only want to have a couple of different types of font on your site, because it brings it's a more visually appealing look if you only have 1 or 2 different types of fonts. Now moving up on the list, we go to pre-formatted, and pre-formatted actually does is it will take a font and make sure that if you have the same amount of letters on 2 different lines, they will take up the same amount of space. It's kind of like an old typewriter type of look. Address kind of just basically it italicizes things. and then paragraph is the normal setting that you would normally see when you're typing away, when you're just getting started. And that's really an overview of the different formatting options. The next button lets you underline things just like a normal word processor would. We've already gone over justify. Um, this is the next one is font color. You can change the font color with a quick click, and it will be whatever this little line is underneath it, or you can change it to all sorts of different colors that are pre-selected. And there's also this more colors, and you can use this picker to get exactly the color that you want. There's a palette, so this is a little bit more determined options for colors, and then these are named colors that WordPress has chosen to have a name. And once you've chosen your color, I like this nice red. Oops, let's click on that again. And you see it right here. That's the color you're getting. You click apply. Now this highlighted section is red now. So that's great. The next little icon right here is called paste as plain text. Now what that will do is, let me give you a little example. I'm just going to click a couple new lines in here, and I have this other website loaded and it has some already formatted text. And if I copy and paste it into my site, you'll notice it already has this formatting. It has look at heading 2, heading 3, and then this says italicize and whatnot. So that's maybe not what I want to do. So I'm going to undo that real quick. And I'm just going to click this button right here. And what it will let me do is paste in text, and it will paste it as plain text. So I paste it in here and click insert. And now there's no formatting on it whatsoever. And I'm able to do all the formatting that I actually want. And we'll just say I want, there's not to have spaces, and how I'm doing that is actually I just hit shift and enter, and it will create a new line without creating a paragraph. Um, let's see, so now I can set this to heading 3 or something like that and center it, and so now this is kind of my own look to it. This is the same thing, but what it does, it actually helps you paste formatted text from Word. And so you would just paste it in here and click insert, and it will help you with if you're having problems with formatting from Microsoft Word documents. Now, what you can do is you can actually highlight a certain amount of text that has formatting, click this little eraser, and it will erase the formatting on the text. And it won't erase the headings, but it will erase all the other formatting. So you would still have to go and you'd select this and click paragraph if you wanted it back to a paragraph. Let's see. This next little icon is, I'm just going to put the cursor right down here and click on it. And what it does is it lets you select custom characters. So if you're looking for those special characters that maybe aren't normally there, say like this guy right here, that's how you would insert it. You would just go into this character, select custom character area, and you would click on it in order to get it. The next thing I have is this button right here, and what that lets you do is indent your text. So if I click on it and you're anywhere in the text, it will indent that whole block of text. So I can keep indenting it as much as I want, and then the block next to it is outdent, and what that does is it just does the opposite. It brings it back over to the wall on the left hand side. This next one lets me undo things, so this is just undoing all that formatting I did before, and then I can also redo if I've already undone something. Now the last icon right here is the help icon. So if you forget anything to do with this formatting palette, then you just click on here, and there's a great little help section that will load that will tell you the basics to editing rich text, which is what text editing is called in WordPress. There's even an advanced tab that will give you a little more in-depth explanations. It will give you hotkeys, which are basically just shortcut keys that you can do on your keyboard in order to set different settings. For example, control. This says use control on a PC, or Macintosh uses command plus whatever letter is listed here in order to get the action right here. So you would use command C or control C on a PC to copy, command A or control A on a PC to select all, etc. And then they give you a little bit about the editor that you're using. So that's great. I hope that was helpful, and we'll catch you next time. I'm Brandon McCulka. Take care.